This morning, the Porsche driver who allegedly fled the scene of Melbourne's horror crash appears in court. National Cabinet meets to discuss a roadmap out of the coronavirus pandemic lockdown. And Rugby Australia begins the search for a replacement for former Chief Executive Raylene Castle.
This is 7 News with Ann Sanders.
Good morning. The Porsche driver allegedly involved in the lead-up to the horror crash that claimed the lives of 4 police officers has appeared in court. Charnel Vella is in Melbourne for us this morning. Good morning to you, Charnel. What happened?
Good morning. Well, the only way I can describe what happened inside that court is we heard absolutely harrowing details. It's an extremely rare move for police to want to read out the summary in that first hearing, but they did so today. What we've heard is that this Porsche driver, Richard Pusey, was pulled over on the freeway. He was breathalyzed and returned a negative result. They have then allegedly drug tested him and he has tested positive for ice and for cannabis. That is when the second car with the third and fourth police officers has turned up, and police allege a truck then swerved and hit all of them while Richard Pusey was urinating on the side of the freeway. He's then gone back to his vehicle and retrieved 2 mobile phones, and while one of the officers was groaning on top of his car, he's said to have filmed her several times. It's believed he was walking around that vehicle and filming her instead of helping her, and at that same time it's understood that she was calling out for help. While this summary was being read, he sat in the dock with his head down. He said nothing at all. He was also supported in court by his wife. We understand he handed himself into police the day after. He made contact with several other police officers while he remained on the run. But right now he is in police custody. He will remain there until July. He made no application for bail.
Do you have anything to say about what Richard did? Anything to say to the victims and their families? Anything to say about the court process?
So as I mentioned, that is Richard Pusey's wife. We did hear from his lawyer, however, who said he is very remorseful. Before he was remanded, his lawyer wanted him seen by a doctor for mental health issues.
OK, thanks very much. Charnel Vella reporting for us there. A meeting of the National Cabinet is now underway, with leaders considering new modelling as they try to trace a path out of the pandemic. Live to Taylor Aiken in Canberra. Good morning to you, Taylor. What's on the agenda?
Good morning, Sally. Well, leaders will examine Australia's very low transmission rate of coronavirus, while also debating the road out and easing some of those social restrictions. Despite the data pool in Australia remaining quite low due to the number of new cases each day easing, the Chief Medical Officer has flagged that restrictions around retail, community sport and the number of people allowed at social gatherings outside could be the first to be eased. Labor is, however, pressing the government on what its economic recovery policy looks like post-COVID-19.
We want to make it easier to do business, to reduce the cost of doing business, to encourage business to invest so that more successful, more strongly growing businesses will start hiring more Australians again.
I would hope that some of the government's rhetorical changes last beyond the current crisis. We certainly will need a strengthening of the private sector coming out of this crisis, but we'll also need to acknowledge the vital role that government plays.
The National Cabinet is also expected to discuss the hot topic of schools, with the Prime Minister hoping to get children back into the classroom as soon as possible. Sally.
OK, thank you very much, Taylor. Businessman Clive Palmer has donated more than 32 million doses of an anti-malarial drug to the national stockpile. Mr Palmer purchased the hydrochloroquine because it had been touted as a possible treatment for COVID-19. It's been tested in Australia and overseas, but there's no firm proof yet that it plays a major part in reducing coronavirus symptoms in humans.
The reason I funded $1 million for the trial was so we could get this happening. But more importantly, if we have a successful trial and we don't have the drug, what good is it?
Mr Palmer says his foundation has paid for the medication and he wants it to be provided for free. New South Wales has recorded just 7 new cases of coronavirus overnight. The ill-fated Ruby Princess cruise ship has finally left the state, now headed to the Philippines. But the saga is far from over. Amber Laidler has the details.
The Ruby Princess may have left Australian waters, but that investigation into the deadly outbreak on board is still very much underway. The special inquiry yesterday heard from the ship's hotel manager, essentially the second in charge on board, and he says he was shocked when all 2,700 passengers were allowed to disembark here at the Overseas Passenger Terminal on March 19. Bad internet connection disrupted the inquiry multiple times yesterday and eventually forced it to be adjourned until a later date.
There certainly will be challenges with anyone who has returned to another country, but at the same time, the ship's captain has enormous power and they could have pulled up and left yesterday morning without my authority. So there was always going to be challenges in terms of keeping people here and holding people here, you know, without a charge.
Meanwhile, there has been another death linked to the Newmarch Anglican Aged Care Facility in Western Sydney. A 79-year-old woman has become the fourth person to die at that facility. An information webinar was hosted by Anglicare last night for residents and family members. The CEO afterwards saying he expected it to take up to 50 days for the facility to deal with the outbreak.
The slowdown in new cases continues in Victoria. There's only been 6 new cases after more than 3,000 people were tested across the state.
And I want to encourage members of the community, even if they are exhibiting mild symptoms, to please go and get tested.
Victoria's death toll from COVID-19 remains at 16. There has been another death in Western Australia, taking the state's toll to 8. The victim was from the Artania cruise ship, which saw dozens of people infected. WA has had at least 546 positive cases of COVID-19. With most Anzac Day dawn services cancelled because of coronavirus, Australians are being encouraged to stand in their driveways at dawn for a minute's silence to ensure the sacrifice of our servicemen and women is still remembered.
We'll have to do it in a quiet, personal, reflective way in our own lounge rooms, in our driveways, in our front yards, but we still have to show our respects, and I think there's a great swell of support for people to do that.
The Australian War Memorial and various RSLs will stream services throughout the day. And we will bring you special coverage of Anzac Day commemorations, beginning with the dawn service at 4:30 a.m, live on 7. Rugby Australia is on the hunt for a new boss after Raelene Castle walked away from the top job. For more, I'm joined by Tom Saker, who's at Rugby Australia's headquarters. Tom, why did she step down?
Well, Sally, many believe that Raelene Castle's exit last night was an inevitability, but it ultimately came down to a complete lack of confidence that the Rugby Australia board showed in her, and that followed on from a letter on Wednesday which was signed by 10 former Wallabies captains expressing their dismay at how the game was being managed under her leadership. Rugby Australia was already in a dire financial position before the coronavirus stopped the code in its tracks. Her 2.5-year tenure was punctuated by the Israel Folau hate speech saga, in which he was paid millions of dollars, which the game simply couldn't afford. Her fractured relationship with former Wallabies coach Michael Cheika, a failed broadcast negotiations deal with Fox Sports, and of course dwindling ratings and low crowds. Just yesterday afternoon though, she told the ABC that she would have hoped to have left the game in a better position than when she entered it. She simply won't get that chance now. Rugby Australia chairman Paul McLean spoke to the media just a short time ago. Let's listen to some of what he had to say.
She would run through broken glass to get things done, and she has done that. Her commitment over the last month has been extraordinary. She acknowledges that the game is bigger than the one individual.
Now, of course, the search is on for a new CEO. Former Wallabies captain Phil Kearns has emerged as one of the front runners. He was one of those Wallabies who signed that letter on Wednesday and was runner-up to Castle in 2017 when she took on the job. Those discussions will take place over the next few days about how they go about appointing a new CEO. Sally?
OK, thank you very much. Tom Saker reporting for us there. Next, in 7 News, the huge economic impact to the United States economy from COVID-19. And Prince William takes part in a comedy skit to raise spirits.
No case has ever been like this.
Diane, it's time to talk.
Each family member, all prime suspects.
Kenny, did you murder your father?
Bang, bang, bang. You will witness every bizarre development. The 7 News investigation, Family of Suspects, Sunday on 7.
NRMA Insurance has always been committed to helping Australians. And while you're at home during this time, our customer care team remains on hand, continuing to help, as we always will.
Come on, everyone!
Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential.
Hi, I'm Jo from Westpac, and I'm here to show you how easy it is to set up online banking on your computer. First, type westpac.com.au/register into your browser. Now on this page, select the register button at the right-hand side of the screen. Next, enter your Westpac card details or your customer ID along with your name and date of birth. You'll find your customer ID on your statement. In some cases, you may be asked some security questions to confirm your identity. You'll need to create a password that you'll use to log back into Westpac online banking. Finally, you'll need to confirm or update your email and mobile number. Perfect. You're all set up. If you need any more information, visit westpac.com.au/register. And above all, please stay safe.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks. Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Meaning. We search for it our entire lives. The meaning in our existence. Work. Beliefs. Relationships. We're consumed by a need to find it. But it's when we stop searching and start feeling. Suddenly it's there.
Two men have been arrested over a huge shipment of liquid meth with a street value of more than $80 million. Last month, law enforcement officers targeted a shipment of bottled water coming in from Iran. It contained nearly 160 litres of the drug. A controlled delivery was carried out and the two men arrested and charged with drug importation. Unemployment rates in the US continue to soar as the coronavirus crisis unfolds. Applications for jobless benefits have now passed 26 million, with many states struggling to keep up. Paul Kadak is in New York.
Good morning, Sally. It seems the economic numbers continue to get more and more dire here. The latest figures tell us that last week, 4.4 million more Americans filed for unemployment. That now means that 26 million Americans have lost their jobs in the last 5 weeks. That effectively wipes out all the job gains that the US has seen since the global financial crisis. Now, the Congress has come up with a big number of their own, $484 billion US US, the equivalent of $750 billion Australian. This new stimulus comes after the last stimulus package, which was the equivalent of $500 billion Australian, was actually all used up in just 2 weeks. This as several states look to make the first moves towards reopening their economies in the next few days. But there's been a backlash to calls by the mayor of Las Vegas to reopen the city's casinos.
So you don't believe there should be any social distancing? You don't believe that this is
Of course I believe there should be. Of course. I'm a
How do you do that in a casino?
That's up to them to figure out.
And from the White House today, some insights into experiments that are being done on the coronavirus to see how it behaves under certain conditions. What they've found, apparently, is the virus does not do well the warmer the conditions are and the more humid the conditions are. But they say the most striking observation they've had so far is the powerful effect sunlight appears to have on killing the virus. Those experiments continue. From New York, it's back to you.
Paul Caddick there. The New Zealand nurse who stood by Boris Johnson's bedside when he was in intensive care says he was just another patient. Jenny McGee has opened up for the first time about treating Britain's Prime Minister. Sarah Greenhalgh has more.
Well, Jenny McGee said it really didn't sink in that she had been treating the UK Prime Minister in hospital until Boris Johnson named her and thanked her on national TV. He spent a week in hospital earlier this month, 3 nights in intensive care, and Nurse Jenny was one of 2 nurses to stand by his bedside for 48 hours when Boris Johnson said things could have gone either way.
I worked in intensive care for 10 years. I'm a sister. I've been in charge for 5 years. I've been in really stressful situations and I was not fazed by this. This was just another day at the office.
Boris Johnson is still yet to return to work, but he has for the most part overcome COVID-19, as did Prince Charles, who has released a beautiful new photo of him hugging one of his youngest grandchildren, little Prince Louis, on his 2nd birthday. His dad, Prince William, has teamed up with British comedian and actor Stephen Fry for a fundraising telethon here in the UK called The Big Night In. They raised almost 53 million Australian dollars for charities during emergency support work during this crisis. It also gave everyone at home in lockdown a few laughs.
By the way, have you seen anything good on TV?
It's hell without EastEnders.
Isn't it? They tell me Tiger King is rather good.
Yes, I tend to avoid shows about royalty.
William then joined wife Kate and the 3 kids, George, Charlotte and little Louis, as they clapped and cheered for the doctors and nurses of the National Health Service. It has become a weekly tradition here in the UK. Prince Charles and Camilla also filmed doing the same outside their home on their Scottish estate.
To breaking news now, and there's an unfolding emergency in Sydney's west. 2 people have suffered electric shocks at Eastern Creek. Now, the conditions of those people are not known at this stage. These are shots that have just come in from the 7 News helicopter. For Sydney viewers, there will be more details throughout the day on this unfolding story. Coming up next, though, we'll have sport with Jim Wilson, including the NRL receives another setback as it chases a return to the field. And we have more on Raelene Castle's resignation as the boss of Rugby Australia.
Jennifer Love Hewitt stars in your next Guilty Obsession. The Client List, streaming for free on 7plus.
If the unexpected happens, capture it and lodge a quick and easy online claim with Amy.
It's like he's actually in the room.
You're with Amy.
Hyundai Kona. Way more fun than your car.
Natural gas makes the fire that does more than instantly warm your home. The ambience of a blazing natural gas fire is sublimely and deeply relaxing.
Hey, Noodles.
Natural gas. Once you've got it, you'll get it.
What if you're missing information that could affect your child's future? Like important information about meningococcal disease. A rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents. Missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more. Speak to your doctor for more information on meningococcal disease and how you can help protect your family.
With Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, we guarantee all the repairs we authorise.
Hey, good to go.
Looks great. Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Call or search for a quote today.
Good morning, everyone. As reported earlier, Raylene Castle has stepped down as CEO of Rugby Australia after being told she no longer had the support of the board.
She would run through broken glass to get things done, and she has done that. Her commitment over the last month has been extraordinary.
Paul McLean a short time ago in Brisbane. Now, in an interview recorded before her resignation yesterday, Castle said she expects new Wallabies coach Dave Rennie to still take on the role.
I know that he has a desperate desire to coach the Wallabies. He will come here regardless of where I sit.
10 former Wallaby captains call for a change at the top of Rugby Australia, including potential CEO Phil Kearns. To the AFL, and Tigers star forward Tom Lynch says he's preparing for a May return to start training. He's currently keeping fit with teammates Dusty Martin and Josh Caddy, and would be happy to move into a hotel in the MCG precinct if the AFL decided Melbourne would be the preferred hub destination.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not too sure what it looks like, but we're obviously right at the MCG there, so it should suit us. Obviously, we love the fans, and it's massive playing from the Tiger Army, but yeah, if we get back play without fans initially, we'll just be happy to be back playing footy.
The AFL has yet to officially provide an updated return date to resume games. The NRL's plans to return to the field on May 28 have been dealt a body blow. Last night, the free-to-air broadcast partner released a statement labelling the NRL's plans as premature, as no TV deal has been agreed to yet. Negotiations between the league and broadcasters continue today. Titans head of performance, Mal Meninga, says the NRL season needs to run for as long as possible.
Big Mal is here. I'll put my Titans cap on, and if it's a shortened competition, we've virtually got no real chance, to make the finals, to be honest with you.
The Kangaroos coach speaking there on Fox. Now the Titans are one of 6 clubs on no points after the opening 2 rounds. Australian batter Beth Mooney says she would support moving the Women's One-Day World Cup because of the global health crisis. The ICC is reportedly considering moving this year's Men's T20 World Cup.
There's bigger things in play here, so if it was to get moved, I don't think anyone would be too disappointed if it was because we were trying to take care of people in the communities around us.
Now, the Men's T20 World Cup is slated for an October start in Australia, with the women's tournament starting on February 6 in New Zealand. It was far from the usual glitz and glamour as the first ever virtual NFL draft began today. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodall read out each team's pick from his self-titled man cave at home, but it didn't stop his traditional booing by the crowd.
Let's hear from you right now. Oh, come on, guys. You can do better than that. Let's go. Oh, straight hand. Come on, let's go.
Louisiana State quarterback Joe Burrow went to Cincinnati with the first pick. Sal, looking forward to your company on Sunrise tomorrow morning, and we'll have more sport at 4 and 6 o'clock.
All right, thanks for that, Jim. See you then.
OK.
Next in 7's Morning News, the National Weather Forecast with David Brown.
From barren wasteland to lush paradise.
Straight out of the tough Aussie bush.
How to transform the most unlikely spaces into amazing places. And there's a fresh-baked way to mark Anzac Day with Fast Ed's twist on an Aussie classic. New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
Mum wanted to stay in her own home, so it was wonderful that we had
an organisation that could give us peace of mind that she was being very well cared for.
Anglicare at Home has a network of extraordinary care workers that can support you to continue living independently in your home.
I think the carers are absolute angels and they do make our lives easier, so just very, very grateful for that.
Search Anglicare at Home.
Every day, we work to make our networks stronger and more reliable. So even when we can't be close, we can still be connected together.
At Harvey Norman, our stores are open, with teams practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Buy now on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $300. Shop for essential tech to keep working, a new appliance, or a bigger sofa or better mattress to make staying home more comfortable. Shop in-store or online, with both click and collect and delivery available. Take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card until Tuesday only.
Go!
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important as well. If you've got sensitive teeth, you should be looking for something to help with the sensitivity, but you should also be thinking about, do I need to look after my gums? Using the new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health when used twice a day, every day. I think it's fantastic to have a dual action toothpaste. 2 benefits with the one toothpaste. What a great idea.
With more than 20% protein for muscle development, Nutri-Grain is one of the highest protein cereals.
Introducing Switch from Ladbrokes. Switch gives you the power to pick your promotion, giving you more of what you want. Make the switch at Ladbrokes today. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
The Rolling Stones have released their first original single in 8 years. The song Ghost Town was actually written for an upcoming album, but the Stones recorded and released it early to help us get through the lockdown.
I'm a ghost, living in a ghost town.
Mick Jagger says the lyrics aren't about coronavirus, but it has become a song for these times. Didn't spend much on the film clip there though, did they? Let's get a check of the weather forecast now with 7 News meteorologist David Brown. How's it looking, Brownie?
Yeah, good morning, Sal. Look, I must say it's a beautiful day right around the country. In fact, let's go to our weather wall. We're going to fly, first of all, into Brisbane. Fine, partly cloudy, warm top of around 29 degrees. Let's check out the harbour city. It too is turning it on today. Clear blue skies, warm high of around 28 degrees, which, by the way, is around 6 degrees above average. As we fly south into Melbourne, it's fine, partly cloudy, a cool top of around 21 degrees. At the moment, it's 20. Add into the city of Churches, clear blue sky and a forecast top also of around 21 degrees. Latest satellite data highlights a massive high that stretches right across the continent. This is typical for this time of year. There's a series of cold fronts crossing waters to the south. Again, there's not much in those fronts. In fact, this system will bring a little bit of rain to the western half of Tassie today. But tomorrow, we're keeping an eye on this cold front, which will eventually capture this prefrontal trough, producing a little bit of patchy rain. That rain will eventually make its way into Adelaide very, very late tomorrow. And it looks like a wet day for the western half of Tassie. But in sharp contrast, more sunshine expected in Sydney for Anzac Day. A beautiful day. Forecast top around 26 degrees. Warmer in Brisbane. Melbourne, fine. Mostly sunny around 22 degrees. Adelaide, rain coming in very, very late. 25 degrees ahead of it. Perth, a few passing showers. 24 degrees. That's the latest weather. More at 4, Sally.
OK, thanks for that, Brownie. See you then. And that's 7 News to now. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day. I'm Sally Barry. Thanks for your company. Have a good day.